All right, everyone, welcome back to another episode of the ConquerCast. Today is a very special ConquerCast. This is one of my really, really good friends, a mentor of mine, an example that I look to in many ways. I'll talk to you about that in just a moment. But Chad Hymas, some of you may have heard of him. If you haven't, this is one you're going to want to listen to till the end. I've known Chad for a few years now. Honestly, one of those who I go to if I need a friend, if I need some insight, if I need some wisdom, and I try not to do that too often because I know Chad has a lot of people that go to him and that he's their go-to. And so
You're calling me every day, but I'm just joking. No, that's not true.
Honestly,
you're really building me up really high here. You don't need to do that.
Honestly, I would if I felt like I could, or but I could,
anytime.
and I know I could.
And
I got that message loud and clear from Chad. The second day, of knowing him,
and
like
it's reciprocal. I know I can call you. I know that. So
so we've had some great times together. We've helped each other at some events, and you've spoken at some of ours. I've spoken at some of yours. Yeah. And Chad has an incredible story. I printed out just a couple of the highlights, but then we're going to get down into the story and who Chad is. But this is someone who's recognized by the Wall Street Journal as one of the 10 most inspirational people in the world. Pretty incredible. There's a lady that some people have heard of, Oprah Winfrey, that did a special on Chad and shared his story. He's broken some records. We'll get into that. I can't remember if it's 516 or 520 miles or something on your wheelchair.
About 5. Yeah.
Was that from Salt Lake to
the Mirage in Las Vegas? So heaven to hell, if you want to.
Heaven to hell, yeah. Right. Saints to sinners.
Saints to sinners. That's right.
Yeah, no, it's
my life story, right there.
Yeah, all of ours, right? Or no, the opposite.
Should
right?
be the opposite. Yeah.
So at the age of 27, was in a tragic accident, but he's taken that story and turned that tragedy into triumph, and we're really going to get into that and how his life perspective has changed and what he's doing. Let's see. I've got the youngest person ever inducted into the National Speakers Association Hall of Fame, and Chad speaks all over the world. I don't know if I was looking at your website. I've been to Chad's ranch. I've gone into a garage where he has a map up, and there's pins for every place, every country that he's been, every city that you've been in. I don't think I saw a blank space. I mean, it's all over the world.
Spaces,
Is there some blank spaces?
There is, for sure. Yeah, but my tires, Trevor, have taken me to 89 countries, which my feet would have never taken me to. So if nothing else comes about from our podcast, if I can think about my adversity from that perspective, that is a blessing. Wow. Right. I am living a dream that I never dreamt, and so I know we'll probably dive into that a little bit. But if I can just focus on that, the blessings that come from adversity, and where has my adversity taken me, and what I've otherwise gotten there, the answer is no. And so that's kind of if I can just focus, if I could keep that 24/7, I'd be my wife's best friend all the time. I'd be, the best dad of the world, but it's hard to keep that perspective all the time. But that's fair.
Yeah, no, that's amazing. So, I mean, I think it said last year you spoke in 220 different events for companies like Blue Cross Blue Shield, Wells Fargo, Coca-Cola, Ford. I mean, large organizations, very large venues are bringing Chad in.
Large or small, it doesn't matter to me.
And it has been. And then I was going to say, and Mountain Ops,
but I consider Mountain Ops to be a flourishing and an absolutely amazing brand. And so, Mountain Ops I consider to be right there. I love spending my time with Mountain Ops, and we have the same blood. I mean, Mountain Ops are outdoors people.
Yeah, it's true.
That's my blood.
So true. The author of Doing What Must Be Done, owner of the Royal Creek Ranch, which we'll talk about, and we've had some events for Mountain Ops out there. Incredible location, just out in God's country, and I'll always remember. The first time meeting you, but you look at all these speaker, Hall of Fame, Wall Street Journal calling you one of the 10 most inspirational people, and I believe
probably outdated, by the way.
That once you make that list, how do they bump you out? You are an inspiration, but what I would say is that I love all those things, and maybe those are just things that people hear about Chad, but once you get to know him, it's so much bigger and better than that. It's, it can get bigger than Oprah Winfrey and the Wall Street Journal. Yes. When I saw Chad and I sat with him for the first time, it was all about an incredible human being, disciple of Jesus Christ, who was out there serving people. And so you can be out there receiving all these accolades and doing all these things for so many people all around the world. Yet when I saw you, it was a husband, it was a father, it was someone serving me. It was a disciple of Jesus Christ, and greater than anything, that's the compliment I could give to you.
That's probably the one thing that we hold true to right there is God first and foremost, and everything else will bypass when I pass away. But if I can somehow make it to where I hear the words "well done," I will consider that the greatest of all, and that is by far the toughest achievement to achieve. It is, because it requires consistency, sustainability, and being there for my family. So I think that the last shall be first, and you just brought that up in trying to be a disciple. And if I can put God and Jesus Christ in my forefront of everything that I do, then I'll be okay.
Yeah,
I'll be okay.
Yeah, that's amazing. Let me share really quickly. I'm going to try to not speak a whole lot during this, but I need to share how we met.
Let's see how this works.
No, we're going to each try not to speak.
This could be a very quiet podcast. Hope y'all enjoy it.
Dead air, huh? So, no, it's I had heard about Chad. We had there was an event I was asked to speak at that Chad was kind of the talk of the town. He was the guy that this is down at Kevin's Genshai, and I was asked to speak there. But I had heard for years this Chad Hymas. I had read some things about you. There was Art Berg, who was somebody that helped you and mentored you, that was in my congregation growing up. And so I knew of him, and then I had heard of Chad Hymas. And so all these mutual acquaintances. And then finally, we had a time to meet. And so Chad invited me out to his ranch. I wasn't exactly sure what I was going out there for. Just to, you network and you connect.
I think
we
were trying to connect.
Yeah, it was just connection, right?
I think that we had a mutual friend, and somebody said we needed to meet, and I invited you to come out to the ranch, and you graciously accepted. I think that was our only.
Yeah. That was the only.
There was no agenda.
There was no agenda other than that. We should meet.
Yeah.
And I was super grateful for that. So on the way out there, I pull up to Chad's house, and I didn't know that Chad was into elk. And so I see these elk that have been bred, and they're on his property. And
they're not mounts. They're not like they're alive.
They're alive.
We have mounts too.
They're walking around the fields, and I mean these are big elk. I mean, what's some of the size of these?
I think the biggest one we have is over 600.
Yeah,
scores over 600.
So this stops me in my tracks. I pull off the road, and I'm like, wow, what is?
Why is Trevor late?
And I was a little bit late, but I took some videos, took some photos, and then couldn't wait to ask you about that. Pulled up to your house, and we met for a moment, sat down for a moment, and then you said you want to drive around the ranch. Let's go.
We met
show
my
you
office.
the ranch.
I think.
Yeah,
so the office is an offset from the house.
Yeah.
And we met in the office for a little bit, and then we got to the ranch is about maybe a 7 or 8 minute drive, from the office.
Yep. And
we went out and we had a great day.
Yeah, it was great. I mean,
that was a great day.
We just talked. Yeah. We didn't talk business. We talked about God. We talked about family. We talked about things. One thing that I've mentioned this a few times with Chad. He would get phone calls from his wife or children, and he would pick up the phone. And it was as if they were talking for the first time or on their honeymoon, or it's like him and his wife. I just remember the courtesy and the love and the expression that you shared with your wife and excitement. It was on speaker. I could hear it all, and it wasn't just a one-way thing. You guys were speaking to each other with some incredible respect.
Probably better now today than it's ever been, and the reason why is the more as time passes, Trevor, and the more I've been in my circumstance, the more grateful I become for what she's done for me in my life. Yeah. I can't say that it's always been that way, but I am becoming wiser and more appreciative. I don't know that I'll ever bring myself to say that I really like to have the girl and angel of my dreams help me with the most intricate details of life. Yeah. That's something that I don't write about a whole lot, nor do I share on a lot of podcasts. Yeah. But as you mentioned that, I am very careful about how I speak to her, and that I do speak and not go silent. Yeah. Because silent is a killer of a relationship as well, right? And so I've learned that the hard way. And so whenever she calls me, it's, hey, or if I need to call her back, sorry, I missed your call, and what's going on? How can I, but it hasn't always been that way.
Okay. Well, that's good. And I love that. I love the vulnerability. I love the fact that we're in this life and we're progressing, right?
Yeah, for sure.
And so, but it was incredible for me to witness. And for those of you who are maybe listening, you're not watching, and I haven't shared what Chad's accident was in 27 years old. He's in a wheelchair. He's a quadriplegic, and so when I went and picked you up, I picked you up out of your chair. I put you in my truck.
You threw me in the truck. It was a throw. I think I almost fell that day.
And I probably had some mountain ops running through my blood, but no, I used the strength that I have to lift Chad up and put him in my truck, and we drove around. And so just so you're aware, if you're not watching, there's Chad had an accident that put him in a wheelchair, and that's part of this life perspective that he's gained. And he said these wheels have taken me all around the world. I just want to put that out there so that people that aren't watching can
have
understand.
A visual in their mind,
have a visual. And
so I do have mobility though, right? But the only movement that I have for our listeners is my shoulders. Okay. So I have no fingers, no hands, although you can see them. And I try and use them to my advantage. I can't feel anything in my hands. And the forearms are very, very bony, and you can see that here. And then the biceps and triceps are gone, but I have everything above the breast line. So shoulders is what I use to push. I'm not in an electric wheelchair. I'm in a manual chair with mountain bike tires, and I'll use the friction, which has taken a lot of learning curve, right, to know where to put my hands. Yeah. And I put them against mountain bike tires to catch that friction and to push, and everything above the shoulders is good, unless you ask Shondell, my wife. She'll tell you there's been some brain damage, but I don't know where that where we come to disagree on that. But yeah, there's been some sort of brain damage, but we haven't quite dialed in what that is. So.
That's awesome. Yeah, so we drove around the ranch. We had an incredible time. We got to know each other. I told you about an upcoming event that I had for Mountain Ops and our leadership team down in Zions. It was coming up in a week and a half or a week or so. You talked to me about some things that maybe I should share, that I could potentially share. And I remember you picking up your phone and dialing your assistant and saying, hey, what am I doing on these dates? And I hadn't even really asked yet. I just asked, like, hey, was there any feedback you want me, you think I should share with the team?
Videos or some ideas.
Yeah, and then you're talking to her and you're like, you know what, where am I during that date? And she said, well, you're here, and then you're flying to this place, and then you're flying to this place. And you said, I might need to cancel those. I might need to be with Trevor. And I just thought, really? We might get Chad Hymas to come to our retreat. And I thought, this is incredible. I don't know if we can afford Chad, but you didn't bring up pricing. You didn't bring in it. You just told her, I might need to change some things to be there. And I remember thinking, whoa, this would be amazing. If he could be out to our leadership retreat, our team could learn from him. And at this point, you're not teaching me any principles as far as like, hey, Trevor, as leaders, you need to do this. As a leader, you need to be, I was just watching you. And I think as I came away from that, I watched you talk to your team member and kind of talk about, hey, I might need to be here to serve someone else. Can you help me? I watched you talk to your wife and how you were expressing love and how you were just respectful, and she was respectful back to you. You called one of your children while I was there, and it was, you guys were so excited to hear each other's voices. So I was just watching this and learning from what I was seeing. And it was incredible. I just thought, man, okay, this is why I'm here. I'm supposed to learn. I need to be a better husband. I need to be a better father. I could speak more respectfully to my team. I could work with them this way or that. So I'm thinking maybe this is the whole point of me being out here. We finish up our conversation. We head back to your office, and I took off in my truck. And I had about an hour drive, and I just talked to God. And I just said, God, I don't know why, but that was an incredible, I don't know why I was there, but I think it's because I'm supposed to learn these things and this and that. And it'd be amazing if he could be to our team event. And I got home that night, went in, talked to my wife, and then all of a sudden a call comes across from my brother. And a few hours after, maybe an hour and a half after I got home from your house. And my brother calls, and I pick up, and he's like, Trev, Dad just fell, and I'm not sure if he survived. And I'm thinking, what? And I get my wife in the car with me. We rush up to their house, and he had fallen down their stairs. And many of you know this story, and Chad knows this story, but he had fallen and he had broken his neck at the bottom of their stairs, and it severed his spinal cord 100%. Chad's neck was severed 95%, is that correct? Yeah. So similar break, just different kind of accident. And my father didn't survive. I'll always remember the text I got from you the next morning, and it was, Trev, I will be at your event. And all of a sudden I'm like, oh my goodness, I've got this thing, but I've got my dad. And I responded to you saying, Chad, here's what's just happened. Somebody that would understand to a greater degree what my family would now be going through. and the accident that just occurred. And I told him, I'm not sure if I'll be at the event. And you said, it's fine. If you can make it, but I'll be there for your team. And a week and a half later, I actually was able to take 2 of my daughters down with me.
I remember that.
And Chad joined us there, changed his schedule, showed up, trained our team, served us, let the team ask questions, spent the night down there, and took off the next day. But I just want to start with that to show you the example that was set before me from a husband, father, servant, somebody that was willing to just jump in and help, even not knowing prior to that my father had passed away. You were just willing to serve. And then, of course, God's kind of lining this up so that we would come together. We would have the friendship. We would have this mentorship that I've received from you, and you're there for my team, willing to serve. I look at it, and I'm so grateful for the timing that came about in that, and the relationship that's been built, the things that I've learned, but more than anything, just the way that you serve people. And I think that's what you're doing all around the world. And you're out there demonstrating it. You're speaking, and you're a speaker, and you use your words, but I love what I witnessed just watching as well.
Well, I think it's fair to say that your dad, as I've come to know, has been one of your greatest mentors and somebody you've admired your entire life. I, too, don't know how many days or years I have left with my dad, but my father is along with my wife, my best friend. Very, very fair to say, and I'm close to and I still have my dad today. And my dad was always excited about my growth and my acceleration and pushing me like your dad was about you and Mountain Ops. I don't think I've seen one picture, Trevor, of you and your dad in family photos without the Mountain Ops branding on the shirt. I don't think I've seen one.
He always wore it.
That reminds me of my father.
Yeah.
And to take this a step further, my dad said something to me, and I hope that this resonates with you. My dad said, "You give without remembering, and you receive without ever forgetting who gave to you, and the law of abundance will take care of itself." So when you give to somebody of your time, of your resources, what Mountain Ops does with their meal program and what they give relentlessly and sustainably, and they have continuity in that, and they don't ever drop the ball. They constantly give, and they don't remember who they gave to. It comes back tenfold, just like the New Testament teaches us. Mm-hmm. And my dad's always said that to me. Now, in the injury phase of it, when I was hurt, and he came to me and wanted me to be better and gave me that same speech that he's been giving me my whole life, I pushed away a lot. I mean, I pushed away a lot and put resistance up. We can maybe talk about that at the time. But I just wanted to make that relative that when you talk about going and serving, I don't do it for the benefit that's going to come back. I just know that if I go and give what I can give and be there, and I didn't go there for a paycheck. And you and I both know, I went there because the events that I had scheduled were movable events. It wasn't that I had a big keynote at State Farm or whatever that might have been, or I could move those coaching sessions around a little bit, and so it worked out. And I remember the service that I received when I got there. When I got there, the team helped me in. There was a couple stairs we had to go up. It was a great location. The bedroom wasn't accessible, but they made it accessible for me. Yeah. I couldn't get down to the pool, but they lifted me down there. And then your daughter came out. We visited for a little bit about some of her dreams and her passions. And she's since served, a mission to Brazil. And so I just, that's some of the commonalities I think that you and I have together as brothers, and that we have as a respect towards our fathers. And I think that you live by that same thing as well. So if I can just, again, continue to try and remember that lesson my dad has taught me throughout my life, I know that we're going to be okay. We'll be okay.
Yeah, so
you've had that with your story.
Yeah, 100%.
Where you keep trying to find places to give, and someone shows up with groceries, and now you're able to give those groceries back. It's just, it's a cycle.
Yeah, it's amazing. Well, thanks for sharing that. That's incredible. I want to talk about a few stories of your father. I don't know what order to go in. What's the best approach? I know I want to talk about your accident and how that kind of changed the trajectory. You had plans to be a farmer and to be a rancher, and you're doing that just in maybe a different way now. So I want to. How did life change? When did it change?
I think the dream really was, yes, ranching and farming were a part of it, but the real title is guide.
Okay,
that's the title.
Yeah.
I wanted to be a hunting guide. The farming and ranching would be a part of that because I wanted to do it all inclusive. In other words, I wanted to have my own ranch, have my own animals, not be dictated by maybe an agency or something outside of my control. I wanted to be able to control that whole ranch. And so I wanted to be able to buy the land and raise the animals and breed up the animals, have good genetics. And then when people wanted to come out and hunt or fish on our ground, that I would have myself starting out, maybe potentially as I grew, have the staffing and just give people memories that they could otherwise never get, you know. So that was the whole idea. And so had never reached that point yet and didn't have the money to buy the ground that I wanted to buy. And this is not something that's a hand-me-down from,
Right.
you know, that I'm working towards that my dad owned. My dad was an insurance salesman at the time. And so this is something that I would have to grow myself. And so just freshly married, 21 years old, I started doing what I knew best, and that was hard work, grit, and determination. And I had learned that from my dad's, you know, by my dad being self-employed and going and working for him, whether it was cleaning windows or washing vehicles or, you know, just whatever jobs he would give me, just the responsibility of mowing the lawn and taking care of the watering and the pump house and making my dad proud. I was, and my dad I loved making him, where he came home from work and he would say, man, this garden, everything's been watered and there's no weeds in the potatoes and the raspberry bushes look great. This is, you know, I liked being the water master of our yard.
Yeah.
And so I kind of started this myself. The only thing that I really knew is how to work hard, and I had the opportunity in high school to work construction, and so I learned a little bit about construction, came home from my mission after serving for 2 years, and I started my construction company with just one person and grew that to a little over 100 people in about 6 years time frame. Wow. Let's make a long story somewhat short. On a Tuesday afternoon, 6 years after we started building, to be the revenue to buy the ground, right? That was the revenue.
Yeah.
Be the contractor by day, rancher, farmer by night. And so, you know, just keep pushing that dream.
You've got a couple kids at this time?
I have a couple kids, 3 and 1. Good. Yeah, good. So they are 3 and 1. And that's the story right there. Shondell called me up, and my sweetheart told me that the little child had something exciting happen that day. It wasn't bad news. It was great news. He took his first 2 steps, and she asked me if I could bust it home to, you know, see him walk and to teach him how to do his first layup. I got a 3-foot hoop right off I got a hoop 3 feet off the cement floor in the garage, indoors. I can teach him how to play some ball. So I raced home. I did not go home first. I went out to the ranch, which you have seen, and I went to take care of the chores so I wouldn't have to go back out. And I did hop on the backhoe, open loft, loaded up a bale of hay that weighs more than your Mountain Ops van outside, and I lifted that thing up 15 feet to put it inside the feeder, and I saw a red light flashing on the dash, and that was a warning light that my hydraulics were low, but it's the same light that I got the night before and the same light that I've seen many times, and I chose to ignore it, and lo and behold, there wasn't enough. We didn't find this out until after the fact, and I was still alive to find out about it, but the truth is there wasn't enough oil apparently to hold that bale in place that time. So I'd gone once too many times, and that bale rolled over backwards and landed on my head, punched it to the steering wheel, instantly breaking my neck. The shaft went through my mouth, breaking everything in its path. This has all been redone. It did sever the spinal cord, and it broke all the bones in my neck, but it severed the spinal cord at the C5 level, which I believe might be near the same location as your father's break. The difference is my spinal cord still had some attachments to it, and I don't know that your dad would have, because he probably never knew it hit him when he fell. And I was discovered about 48 minutes is what we've come up with math-wise based on the sunset that night and when the 911 call went in. The person that gave the 911 call is my wife. I never came home, so she came looking for me. She was calling my cell phone. I wasn't answering. She didn't think something bad happened. She thought that I got caught up doing what I love. And so she thought I was out working and wasn't answering. She was coming to kind of rip me, right? And which tells you back then the conversations weren't that great, right? Back then. And so she was coming to, and she had to see that. She saw that. And I was conscious. I heard her scream. I think that I have only heard Shondell scream that horrifically one other time, and that's when I had actually, just recently, I accidentally ran over our son's little hound that we were, little Dotson, and Shondell witnessed that. And my memory went right back to that scream 25 years ago. And that happened just last month, where I accidentally took little Brizzy's life and didn't see Brizzy. Again, not to change subjects, but that I reflected on that moment. I'd never seen my wife scream and be so, hopeless, or what do I do? I'm at a loss. How do I save this dog? How do I save my husband? What do I do? So headlights disappear. She calls 911. Within about 120 seconds, 5 ranchers show up because we don't have a fire station. We have volunteers out there where we live. And so these guys get in their secondhand equipment and they get out there. 3 Utah State Troopers got there within 26 minutes, and 8 men lifted that bale of hay off my body.
Wow.
And so a couple things with that. We can move
please.
on. I think a lot of times as you and I have a belief system, right? We talked a little bit about our God.
Yeah.
And I hope I can speak for
Of
you.
course you can.
We don't ask people listening to this podcast to believe what you and I believe.
Yeah.
I don't expect that, but I sure appreciate their respect for my right to believe what I believe.
Yeah.
And so I appreciate the fact that we can talk about God and Jesus Christ, his son, on this podcast, because I don't know that I've ever been on another podcast, and I've been on a bunch of them where we have said those words. Yeah. So I'm grateful that you opened up the door for me to say that today. And I'm grateful for our listeners respecting my right to believe what I believe, as I respect their right to believe whatever it is that they believe, awesome. Without us hating each other.
Yep.
And we can love each other and be friends, and I think that's magnificent.
Yeah,
I ignored a warning sign, and I did that because I'd gotten away with it before. And I guess the message is that we need to listen to the warning signs that God gives us, whether it's tangible, like a red light, or intangible, like, I don't feel very good about this. I'm not so sure this is some website I should be on, or I'm not sure this is the right kind of friends I should be hanging around, or the right type of people, because I never leave away a better person. I never leave. So I think that Heavenly Father, or that our God, watches over us so closely that he gives us those insights, and we know right from wrong. And we don't always choose that. And Trevor, that's why I sit. I'm not sitting because I'm a bad person. I'm not sitting because God punished me. I'm sitting because I'm reaping what I sow, and yet I still apparently had some work to do, and I got to live. And I don't know the answer to that. Actually, I do know, because in that book that you and I read, it says, my ways aren't your ways.
Yeah.
And you don't. And then 4 verses down it says, lean not unto thine own understanding. So I don't have to understand why I lived and why Pops passed away. I don't have to. You don't have to know that either. No. All you need to know is that there is a purpose in all things.
There's a wise purpose.
There's a wise purpose. Yes. There's another. That's another verse, right? There's another verse right there. And if you and I can cling on to that, it gives us hope for a better future and an incredible reunion. Yeah. Right. So.
And that goes for anyone that, I've never had the experience that you've had, but I've had my own personal experience. Absolutely. And anyone listening right now is potentially going through something, has gone through something, will definitely go through something in life. And if we can approach life with that wise purpose in mind, trying to keep our eyes wide open to what God is doing for us in life, there's major blessings that come from it.
Try and listen to the warning signs and realize that we don't have to be perfect, and we're going to mess up. When we do, there's an opportunity to grow from that, which I'm trying to do from my mistake. I got to try and grow from that. The alternative is to not grow, stay stuck in the paralysis, stay in a dark place, become a worse husband, have depression, which then ultimately leads to self-inflicted wounds and not wanting to live. Yeah. And I can tell you that I've never been successful with those thoughts. And it's made it worse. Oh, I've played them, and I repeat as well, but I've never won that game before. And I don't know too many people that do win that game. And I don't like those feelings. So it doesn't mean those feelings will go away. Right. It doesn't. They don't go away. But it does give me purpose to quickly get out of it. Maybe make a phone call to my buddy Trevor and say, hey, Trevor, can you talk for a minute? Or send a text off. Trevor, do you have a few minutes? I need to chat with somebody. It's not business. I just haven't in a little bit of a spot. Yeah. You'll break yourself away from a meeting to come talk to me. Yeah. And when you have those kind of friends, you cling tight to them. Doesn't mean you have to bother them. Doesn't mean, but they're there during some dark times, right? So, I know I have that with you. I know I have that with a few other people as well. And you don't have to have a lot.
Yeah, that's true.
You just need 1 or 2.
Yeah,
right?
So true. So I've seen you in a presentation a few times to ask somebody, tell me what you see, and they're like, well, you're paralyzed, or you're in a.
Oh yeah, that word paralyzed.
Because something you were just saying kind of just made me think of that. What's your response to that?
Well, that's also I also what was the I'm trying to think of how I lead into that segment, but ultimately I just say, what was my prognosis?
Yeah.
And they'll say, well, you can't walk and you're paralyzed. And both of those aren't necessarily true, because when they say I can't walk, they're missing the hands piece. And it's evident as you and I sit here today that my hands are bony, they're curled, I can lift them up to my face now, and I have my wedding band on, and I have my, a couple other bands on with some significance. But with that said, I can't use them. And so for someone to say I can't walk, I think they're missing it by half, which is, I would consider the half that I would use more in my life, because we use our hands for baiting a hook, drawing back a bow, cutting up some steak, barbecuing, holding her hand to walk down a street, riding a bike. I could go on for hours.
Yeah.
But how about just some catch?
Yeah.
Just some simple catch. And so I'm not discrediting walking. I just think the hands we use for so much. Dialing a number on a phone, sending a text message off, typing. I mean, we use our hands for everything. Lifting some weights, just working out. And so, and then when someone says the word paralyzed, I'm never offended by it, but I think you and I have both met people on our journey that are more trapped, than we are. And it's not because they're bad people, and yet they have full function of all four limbs. And the reason why they're trapped is they refuse to do what you and I have already talked about. Give without receiving, and when someone gives something, you never forget who gave to you. And then the law of abundance, what, instead of asking why this happened to me, why, we know this better question to ask is, how can I do something? When can I start? What can I do? And what's available to me? What resources are available? I get better answers to those questions than I've ever gotten when I say why. And so when someone says that I'm paralyzed, we know people, there are people that are listening right now that they themselves might be trapped. And I just need them to understand they're trapped because they're refusing to adapt to changing circumstances. And, if I weren't willing to change the kind of clothes I wear, I'd probably be naked wearing a hospital gown somewhere. and that would not be a very, very pretty look. I've lost all my muscle tone and I got to watch my weight carefully, because people like you lift me in and out of vehicles. And so, but that said, I just, when I'm willing to adapt, eat differently, watch how much I eat, when I'm willing to wear clothes that are a little bit bigger in size, that I can get them on using my teeth and some Velcro straps my wife made. I can play soccer with my kids, and maybe I'll just be the goalie, and I won't be one that moves very well. Yeah. But we can still, play soccer, and I just get hammered with the ball.
You're the goalie.
And the kids will say, "Dad, you're the best goalie in the world."
They call you the wall, right?
Yeah, that's right. Because no one's gonna ever score on you. And we laugh at that, but they don't, because they want me present. And then I've learned the lesson there. Yeah, my kids just want me there.
Yeah.
They want me to do some homework with them. They want me to be present in their lives. And so there's a message there as well.
That's so powerful.
I'm gonna have a little sip of this.
Yeah,
we got our Mountain Ops drinks and a water. But I love the peach. That's my favorite. You brought it to me, but I do better with a water bottle than I do with our Mountain Ops mugs. But we do have the Mountain Ops flavor going today. So
well. No, I brought that up just because I have heard you say, there's more people out there that are more paralyzed than I am, just because of their mentality and their choices and their unwillingness to adapt. And so, did that take some time for you to adapt? I mean, what you survived this experience, but now you're finding yourself in a hotel or in a hospital bed. Yeah. What is that like?
So stubborn.
And your dad really kind of jumped in, right?
He's the one that looped in the whole. He came in. My dad knows my pride. He knows my ambition. He knows my work ethic. And I'm not saying that to brag. I just like to work. Yeah. I like to set goals. I like to, I like to make my dad happy and proud. I'm driven by that. I don't know why. Not everybody's built that way. It's not because for some reason, I am driven to make my father proud and to create and to build and to grow. Yeah. And that's just, and I love when my dad says, "Son, I'm really proud of you." There's something that is worth more than any paycheck I've ever received.
I agree.
It is. There's something that I love.
I would hear that on every phone call with my dad.
Yeah. Funny you say that, because Dad called me on my way here and he said, "Son, where are you farming today?" Happens every day. I just don't know what's going to happen. I said, "Dad, I'm actually in town, heading to Mountain Ops. I'm going to spend time with Trevor." "Son, I'm really proud of the way you farm. Better go by." That is it.
That's awesome.
And that's all that's That's the juice. That's the endorphins that I need, that I get. And my dad calls me he called me Saturday. Son, you watching the BYU Iowa State game? Yeah, Dad, it's not looking real good right now. Son, just be patient. You know, they'll come. Sure enough, we're down. You know, we're down by 15 points, but we end up coming back and winning the game. But son, where are you farming today? Dad, I'm actually watching a game just like you. So I'm proud you're taking the time to detox, spend some time with your family, watching the game so that you can be at your best come Monday. You know, and so. You know, he calls me, my dad, and when I hear those words, I'm proud of where you're farming today. But he came in, and he probably, well, Trevor, you have a son. We talked about him before the podcast. You told me that he was using your truck today, that you were driving maybe the beater upper for a little bit, or the car that got better gas mileage. That's kind of the way that I read into that.
Has better gas mileage.
Has better gas mileage. But Beckham's got the truck.
Yeah.
And I think that's cool. If Beckham were laying on a hospital bed and the doctors came and told you that your son will never walk again, nor will he have his hands, and that's the prognosis, that probably is going to be tougher on you than Beckham, because Beckham's still in a coma, as I was when my dad was given those words. Yeah, my dad was, and my dad knows my ambition and my grit and when I learn of this, my dad knows that I'm going to want to live the life of a hermit. Despite me having a knowledge of God and resurrection and a belief in his son, Jesus Christ, and being raised up that way, I will forget all those lessons for a short time, if not for a long time, and I would be willing to give up my family because I think they deserve better. And that is sadly true about Chad Hymas. And when I woke up, my dad did give me some good news, and he gave me some tough news, and he just said the good news is that you're here with us, but everybody's here, son. So I don't want that to be the good news. He asked me to live a law of intention, or live a life and breathe with intention. And I didn't know what he was talking about, and he just said, son, as I've been thinking while waiting for you to wake up, intention means that you have passion for your kids, passion for people, that you have perspective on the adversity that you're facing, and that you have purpose every day. That's what intention means. So everybody breathes. That's called average. But son, you've never been average to me. Son, you've always been one that's pushed yourself. But now I'm kind of giving it to you by definition, son. Instead of me just telling you that I'm proud of you, I'm going to ask you to have more passion for your kids now. I'm going to ask you to have more passion for your wife now. I'm going to ask you to have more passion for the people that work with you, work for you. Son, I'm going to ask you to have passion for people over products, which is one of MTN Ops values. You know that. Yeah. Son, I'm going to ask you to have perspective on some adversity, and I'm going to share a little bit with you here in just a second. That's what he said to me. And then, son, I just want you to have purpose in what you do every day, which means that you wake up with gratitude every single morning. That's why I raised you, but I need you to demonstrate it more now than ever. And there was one other piece of good news, and that was the doctors fixed all the broken bones in my neck. He said, you broke your bones in your neck and some ribs, and the doctors, they fixed it all. Now, son, I need to talk to you about some things that you might not want to hear. He said, you did sever the spinal cord. It's a complete injury, not an incomplete injury. They showed us that on, they're being very, very honest. I asked for straight, honest truth. I didn't want false hope, he said. I want to know where my son lies, and I want the doctor to give me just straight down to earth talk, whatever that looks like, and be honest. Don't give me statistics or some false hope. And the doctors have told my dad that I did sever it. It was complete. It was not incomplete as far as they could see. There was hope that I would get strength back, but the possibility of me getting more feeling or motion was slim to none. And my dad wanted to be able to tell me the truth without giving me false hope. So my dad said that I lost my hands. I lost my legs and everything we talked about earlier. We don't need to repeat that. And he just said that I could be a better father with no hands and no legs. He went into this little, I would call it I took it as a lecture.
Was it just you and him in there at the time?
My dad did not want Shondell in there. My dad's very protective of my wife, and he didn't want, he asked my wife's permission to be the one to convey it to me. Not to take it away from Shondell. I don't know that Shondell would be in an emotional place to do that. Yeah. My dad wanted to take it on, and my dad, Shondell knows how much I love and appreciate my dad's push for me and his appreciation. Yeah. She's heard it many times. And my dad's also very close to my wife, very protective of her as well. And if there's anybody that I listen to and have been coached throughout my life since I was a baby, it's my father. Yeah. It is him. It's my dad. It's not that I have more love for him than my wife, but if I'm doing something wrong, I would probably listen to my dad more than anybody else. My dad will tell me straight up, son.
Yeah. He's not going to sugarcoat.
He doesn't sugarcoat it. Thank you. He doesn't sugarcoat anything. So he told me, and then he added, said, I want you to consider being a better father, a better basketball coach, a better husband. And now he's getting personal. And I'm thinking to myself, you have no clue. You have no idea what this feels like. How can you say those words to me? I can't do a layup. You want me to be a better farmer? I can't get on the horse. I can't work the elk. I can't tie a fly. I can't draw back my bow. I'm building this. I'm right in the middle of this, and I'm pushing hard, and now it's all gone, and you're sitting here giving me false hope. That's how I took it. That's what you took, yeah. That's the way I took it, And then the last thing he said to me was, I believe you can be a better disciple than you ever were. That was the last thing he said, and that's when I came back to him with words that I cannot repeat on the podcast. And when my dad heard that language, he left me. And when I say he left, he physically removed himself from my hospital room. He didn't say anything back to me. He didn't cuss. He didn't use the same language. He probably had never heard me use that language before. And I was whispering that language, through a trach. And he walked out of the room. And this is a good thing to ask and to talk. Why do you think my dad left me alone there, knowing that I could barely breathe on my own? I'm in a dark room. My wife's not going to come in. I can't call the nurse in. I am truly left alone. And I want you to think about something too, Trevor. Think about the person that you and I worship and a time that he was left completely alone. Now, I'm not comparing myself to him, but I do feel that I can relate.
Yeah,
how about
very
that?
much.
I'm not comparing myself to Christ at all, but there was a time where he had to take on the sins of the world, where his dad let that entire weight be on his shoulders. My dad left me. And we'll just make this without being spiritual. We can make this rancher terms. On the ranch, we say you can lead a horse to water, but you can't make the horse drink. And my dad knew that he couldn't make me do anything. The cool thing about God and my dad is they never leave us alone too long. Yeah. They always come back to see if we're humble enough to change and be teachable. And my dad came back in within minutes. And as soon as he walked in with tears in his eyes, and I'd hurt him. And he was hurting because he saw his son there, and he knew that I was not going to make this. The first thing I said was, Dad, I'm sorry about saying those swear words. I know better. I've been taught better. I just don't understand where you're coming from, because I can't hold her hand, and I can't have children. I can't feel my body down there. I can't. We were just talking, just like I can't. I can't teach the boys. I can't turn the pages on the Bible or the scriptures that we read. I can't write what I'm thinking in my head. I can't pound the post in I can't ride the four-wheeler. He said, son, I need you to stop. What do you notice about all those sentences? And I was just still, I don't even think I heard him. Yeah. I was just sitting there quietly. He said, you just made all those sentences about you. And I didn't come here to talk about you today. It doesn't mean I don't love you. It doesn't mean that I don't care about you. But there's a lot of people out there in that waiting room that I can't let see you like this, because your attitude's going to affect the two little boys, your beautiful wife, your grandparents that are out there, your aunt and uncle that want to see you, your mother. They're all out there. And if I let them in, I take the risk of letting them feel what I just felt, and I can't put them through that.
Wow.
He said, I'm asking you to think about them and try and focus on a we-opic vision rather than thinking so much about yourself, because there's an opportunity here, because you're still with us, to actually change the lives of your family. He wasn't talking about multitudes of, he's just saying, your kids are now going to grow up with a dad in a wheelchair, and it's going to bless their lives immensely. And I'm wondering, Trevor, if this wasn't just as much for him, because you have Beckham. Yeah. And if it wasn't a way for him to heal, my dad to heal.
Very much.
Because his heart was broken, right? Wow. His heart is smashed because his fishing partner isn't going to be able to fish in the way that we used to do it. So he had to think about these things, right? And think about what he was teaching me. Here we are 25 years later. I understand it now.
Wow.
But going through that in the moment, my dad knew what I was going to say before I ever said it. He knew. He just like God knows. He knows. And I'm now starting to understand what we've been taught. Father in heaven knows before he knows, just like my dad knew. And just like your dad knows exactly what you're doing. He knows. And then he came back.
He knows how to be there for you when it doesn't make sense for you. It's like this. Why are you approaching things like this? God ways are not our ways, right?
Yeah. And you know what's amazing is I did get to see my family that day, and there were some tears shed, but there were no swear words. There might have been people saying, I don't know, we even talked about the accident much. It just, we're really glad you're here, Chad, and your boys, the boys want to see you, and they don't care that your legs don't work. They don't care that they for the most part, they understand that they're going to need to help. They've been helping their mother for several months while you've been up here. So it was just more, hey, Dad, can we play some catch? It's just kind of trying to learn some new things, and yet still feeling this temptation to go back to pushing them away, yet knowing that that's the wrong answer. And we all go through that in this life. Every one of us go through that. And so, that was... My dad set the stage for the groundwork and the framework to do what I do today. He set the stage for that. But I had to choose it.
Yeah.
Right? Just like you have to choose to move on and make choices that are sometimes very difficult decisions. My dad could not make me drink that water like that horse. My dad said, are you going to change and work on that? Or are you going to be like all the other stubborn foals on your ranch? They're all stubborn when they're not broke. And sometimes we need to be broke in order for us to maximize our potential and our capacity.
Wow.
And it wasn't my dad breaking me. It wasn't even God. I broke me.
Yeah.
And yet there was still opportunity for me to grow. And there still is today. But I have to choose that. No one can make me do that. No one can make me come to this podcast today. I have to choose that. And so... You make yourself so available for people, and I just think back on that experience with your father and him changing your mentality and your myopic view to a weopic view. It wasn't about you, and so much. It's so easy to say, yes, look at everything that's going on. I don't blame you for feeling those things, for thinking those things, for saying those things, but an incredible father helping you understand that there's some people that love you, need you. And there's a wise purpose to this, all right? Think about what you're doing now. I have a question for you. You're doing some incredible things. You're the visionary officer for you took a step sideways and removed yourself from being the chief executive officer of co-founding an incredible brand, and you wanted to move this thing forward. Now you have some other things that are pulling you that you feel like are necessary for you in your life. What if all that was taken away today? Because you have the same accident as your father, and now Jenna is going to need to come in, and you have a daughter that you're preparing to send off to Brazil for 18 months. You've got Beckham that you're still trying to get through and be a father to him, and you've got this young, beautiful daughter as well that you want, and one day you want to walk these kids down the aisle, and one day you want to give them away, and that all now changes. It puts a new light on everything. I think when people go through physical challenges, mental challenges too. I don't want to take away from mental, but when something physical happens, our bodies don't work the way they used to as we age a little bit, and things tend to not be the way they used to be. It's a difficult thing for people to go through, and I understand that to an extent. And if that were to happen to you, I think it would be. I don't think that I'm the only person. I think that you would have a hard time having Jenna, who's absolutely a godsend and an angel, help you with some of the most intricate details of the human body, right? And what the body needs to have done to it in order for it to survive in this life.
Because you're thinking, this isn't what she signed up for, right?
Absolutely.
This isn't what was planned. It's not what we papered.
We say it in a wedding vow, for better or worse.
Yeah, but you don't expect
certainly
that.
don't mean it, or I'm sure we mean it, but it has some strings attached to it that they're subconscious, right? We're not thinking about that. And so I've really had to take that into consideration and think deep about those commitments.
And in a way, you're probably, the concern for them having to change their life is that's probably what you're thinking is like, I don't want to be the burden on them.
Thank you. The word burden. I don't want to carry I don't want to carry the railroad tie to the cross.
Yeah.
Right? I do want to carry it. I don't want her to carry it.
Yeah.
I don't want any of those gals to carry that. I don't want any of those gals to, no different than the Savior. He didn't want his mother to see him have to go through certain things. That's what makes us relative.
Yeah, very much.
And the cool thing is that we're never left truly alone. Yeah. If we do believe in a higher power and do believe in a God, he comes back to see if we're ready to be teachable.
So quickly too,
yeah.
right? Just like your father, he's there. He's just outside the door. You can hear him weeping. You can hear him. A God who, I mean, you're a father. You look at your children. You don't want them to be in pain,
right?
They have to go through it. Yeah.
Pain's a marvelous teacher.
Yeah.
Right. Christ went through that as well. There's not a single person. There's not a single one of his followers that didn't die a gruesome death. Right? Not a one of them. Peter crucified upside down. You know. Matthew, crucified on an X, others that were beheaded, killed by the sword, some that were burned at the stake, the one that set the way before him, John. I mean, gruesome deaths that were willing to not sacrifice what they knew to be true. And again, this is not some sort of a testimony podcast or anything like, but to relate that to today, it would be very difficult for me to want to go and be with him again and not have gone through some sort of pain in my life, and yet expect to live in the same residence or the same world as him, right? I just can't. Yeah. So when I think about it that way, you bet I'm willing to do whatever it takes and ask for whatever help I need. That's the attitude that I have. But the temptation comes where I'll look outside, like even last night, see Shondell feeding the horses at 9:00 at night. I want to be out there helping her feed. And I'm sitting inside on the bed and watching her out there. And she never complains. She loves it. Yeah. And so, that temptation, that thought, and I got to get rid of that thought quickly. And just when it comes back in, hey, how to go out there? How are the horses looking? Thank you for, and she's heard me say that so many times that she just wants me to ask her how the horses are doing. There's only so many thank yous that, or how about this, Shondell, I wish you didn't have to. I've said that so many times that it just, it's been 25 years now. Yeah. I know now what I need to say, and that is, Shondell, I appreciate your help. Thanks so much. I'll call you back here when I need you. And she's like, great, thanks. That sounds so good. And then it's good, But if I go silent, or if I, even if I just had this certain aurora about me, which she can read and tell, it does bring her down. Yeah. And I don't want to do that. I don't. I've done it way too many times, and I just can't go back to that. Yeah. So anyway, some good lessons right there.
I think good back on what you're saying, and you're telling your dad, I can't this, and then I'm just reflecting on the story of Art Berg coming in, and I think there was a lesson in you can, and I'm going to show you. Is that right? How did Art Berg come into the story into play?
So my dad got that resistance from me, and then things started to be inconsistently progressing. Okay. So could we say inconsistently? Good days, 2 bad days. Yeah. Another good day, 5 bad days. My dad didn't understand what I was going through. Yeah. And a few months prior to my accident, my dad went to his insurance salesman retreat. Right, their big deal in Dallas, because he was one of the top sales reps or one of the top agents. And so he goes there, and there's a guy, Art Berg, speaking. He's the closing keynote, and he was in a wheelchair. And I never knew anybody. I had no idea who Art was, didn't know anything about him. And I will say that my dad came home and brought this VHS tape of one of Art. I told you how long ago this was. We're not talking a DVD. We're not talking Netflix. We're not talking. This is a VHS tape and one of Art's books. And he tried to get us all over for a family dinner at his house to watch this guy talk. This is prior to my accident, so we're all able-bodied. Everything's good. You guys got to check out. He wanted to inspire us. Yeah. He wanted us to be better, kind of like we're trying to do with this podcast. Right. We want to conquer. We want people to conquer out there, and conquer their challenges and their adversity, and to conquer more, and to conquer more steadfastly. And that's what my dad wanted. He just couldn't do it on his own. And so he brought this Art Berg tape in, which we never watched. Oh, really? Because we were too busy. And then I wake up from a coma, and my dad wheels in the cart after this consistent, the old library. Yeah. I picture the church cart. The library. It's got the VHS player down there and the square big TV, not a flat screen, the big old TV. He puts that VHS tape in and I watch it.
In the hospital room.
In the ICU. In the ICU. I was in the ICU and I watched that. I remember his hands looked like mine. I don't remember one thing about his message. That I was just watching because he was happy.
Yeah.
And he was on a stage, and this is what my dad watched, and he got a copy of it, and he brought it home, but we never watched it. Now I can't help but watch it because you have no say when you're in a hospital. He just wheels it in, plugs it in, hits play, and turns it up, and sits in a chair, and I can have a bad day, and I'm watching it, and this guy's got the exact same motion, movement, and I'm resonating with that. I'm not listening to him, but I watch that, and I'm just kind of inspired by it. Not to be a speaker, just I'm inspired that he's happy, he's married, he's got 2 little kids, and I'm married, I got 2 kids, and I'm not happy. And so I'm wanting to know, why on earth, how can this guy be happy when he can't kick the ball either? Yeah. Is he throwing on a facade? Is he fake? Is he real? Is he, how's he providing for his family? How can he say that he loves her? How can they, and he's been this way since he married that way. I mean, this guy got hurt in a car accident, mile marker 17 outside of Las Vegas, on his way to get married to his sweetheart that he met before his mission. That's the truth. And he wasn't at the wheel wearing a seatbelt, so somebody else is driving. They're switching back and forth, driving at dark, 2 o'clock in the morning. Driver falls asleep, who we'll just call his name John for the sake of saving his name, who still was a very good friend of Art's back then and never did blame him for that, but paralyzed Art in the accident. John wasn't hurt. John was not hurt. Art broke his neck and survived. Ended up marrying Dallas 18 months after that original date that he was going to get married. So they had to wait 18 months. And my dad let me watch that a couple of times, and I wanted more. I wanted more Art Berg. So my dad picked up the cord phone, or maybe we had some cord phones, or called up his office, looked it up, and said, how many other VH tapes do you have, and what other books, and do you have anything else? Like an Art Berg shirt. What do you got? And my dad bought it all, and we got it the next day, not by FedEx, but Art showed up himself. And you talked a little bit about showing up, intentionally, whether it was me for your retreat or you just coming out there to spend. You started it off, not me. You came out there. You gave me your time. I mean, it's reciprocated. We can go back and forth on this, but Art showed up, and I didn't expect him to. So the same story can be said about Art. I didn't pay him a dime. That guy came there. He didn't stay very long, but he had a bag, kind of like the MTN Ops gift bag you gave me earlier. I mean, he had a bag full of stuff, and in that bag were all those tapes and everything my dad ordered. He didn't charge us for it, and while he was there, I found out that he traveled around the world speaking for a living, farming people. I found out that he married his high school sweetheart. He got hurt at age 21 after he got home from his mission, served in South Dakota. Found out that, I found out how he got dressed because he transferred himself. He had a little bit more upper body strength, so he broke his neck a little bit lower than where I broke. I broke mine a little higher, so I don't have quite as much. So he put himself on my ICU bed, and he took off his jeans. He had underwear long johns on to keep his body warm, from wrist to ankle. I mean, he had long underwear, but he took off a shirt with no buttons, and then he put them back on within like 20 minutes. And he was just showing me that. And then he had slip-on shoes, no laces.
Was he saying, teaching anything?
Yeah,
or
just talking a bit, but mainly quiet. I just want to show you a couple things. And then it was just like, my dad's in there, Shondell's in there. He didn't care. He wasn't making himself, inappropriate and nothing like that at all. He just wanted us to. This is better than any therapy session. Yeah. This is nothing against my therapists. They were great. I love Misty. I love Ron. Those guys were great. But now I got somebody that is going through it. And they would say the same thing. Somebody that's showing me exactly how he's doing it. And so I loved that, and I followed him for the next 9 months. Not on social media, because there wasn't Instagram back in 2002. There was no Facebook. There was no LinkedIn. There was websites barely, right? There was no chat. There's none of that stuff. Yeah. So I just followed him on a schedule. He gave me his phone number. He came out to our ranch, saw our elk, because I just started, that prior to getting hurt. So we had some elk out there, and they went on a hayride, brought Dallas, brought his wife out, brought his 2 little kids. They were adopted. They just had adopted a third. Just adopted. So they adopted all their kids, and they were just little. And they came out. And then I went to Art's house. I saw how he drove, saw his office, saw an elevator in his house, and saw his speaking schedule, just a map like you saw it at my house. And I still wasn't wanting to be a speaker. I just was learning how to be happy. I
was just going to ask that. Did you
No.
learn what was making him happy through following him, and what?
I think he just had a purpose, and I was still trying to figure out mine.
Okay.
Art was driven.
Okay.
He had a purpose, and I didn't find happiness in going home to the ranch because I still was hooked onto the 4-wheeler and the horse, and I can't work them. And all these people from my church are coming out and they're doing all that ranch work for me every day because we had a lot of animals, and they needed to be, and they've been doing it while I've been at home. So I wasn't doing any of that. I was still trying to learn how to eat on my own, and I mean we're in the very beginning stages here. We're just so all these people are coming to serve me from my church and our church house and in the area where we live. And I followed Art and called him every once in a while just to see how things were going. And he invited my wife and I to go to Hawaii to watch him speak at the Pro Bowl because the Baltimore Ravens were in the Super Bowl that year. That was Ray Lewis's first year. You guys got to look this up. Ray Lewis's first year. And they're going to the Super Bowl, and Ray Lewis is playing at the Pro Bowl, and he's just going to show up. He's not going to play because he's playing the Super Bowl the next weekend. But Art got asked to speak at that. My wife and I went there. Art paid for our tickets. We stayed there for 3 days in Hawaii. It was the first time that I flew paralyzed. It was scary for us, but kind of followed Art's directions, and he kind of showed us how he did things. And we got to go to the Pro Bowl, and we watched him speak, and that was cool. Came back home, and that was February 17th, 2002. February 19th, we came home, and that's when we got the phone call the next morning. Art passed away in his sleep. He had an allergic reaction to medication. He was taken for spasms and for something else. I don't remember what it was, but they had an allergic reaction, and it paralyzed his lungs in his sleep, and he never woke up, and he passed away. And I don't think I'd ever experienced loss like that. Be like you in the news you got with your father. It's a massive loss, huge hit. And I just went out and I cried to God. I went up and down my driveway, just in my chair. Back then it was a motorized wheelchair, not a push chair like this one. Just an electric wheelchair. And I can't believe that. No, I don't have him. I don't have anything. I just got VHS tape. I have nothing.
The only guy that kind of understood you, right?
Absolutely, and it's gone. And that's when it hit me. I wonder if I shouldn't feel some shoes that have now been removed. It came to me, and I got after it right then. I went right back in the house, had the big old floppy disk computer, and I got after it and started to figure it out. And I've been speaking ever since.
Wow.
That's how it started.
That's how it started. That's incredible.
That's exactly what happened.
Wow. Definitely carrying on his legacy and obviously creating yours, and your story is inspired. How many people do you have any idea how many people you've spoken to? Was there any guess? I mean, it's not that matters.
No, and I don't know that God cares either. And I know you don't. I know that you don't mean it by that, and that's not the pretty question. But it's in the 23 to 24 million mark. We're right in that area if we're counting.
So different size ranch than you were. Expecting to farm,
89
right?
countries, as small as 3 people, 5 people, 10 people, to as large as 17,000 in a big arena. My biggest audience was where the Indianapolis Colts play football, and that was for a group of high school students that all wear blue jackets. They're the FFA kids, and I got to speak as the keynote at the FFA convention.
Oh, cool.
That was cool, yeah. So Toby Keith was the headliner and we've since lost Toby. He's passed away, but Toby Keith was the headliner and sang on that same stage.
Wow.
And I was one of the keynote speakers they had at that event.
Wow.
So that was cool. Yeah.
Wow, that's incredible. Yeah, I don't ask to say, hey, how many?
No, I get it. Yeah.
But I think of your father's phone calls, and even the phone call he made to you today. Where are you farming today? And just the farm has changed. Yeah. What you initially
and we still have the farm and the ranch. I just
but it's
different. Yeah.
You've got a much larger farm that you're out planting seeds within lives of people and helping them conquer more, as we would say here at Mountain Ops.
Which allows me to live with passion, purpose, and perspective, because I still have challenges.
Yeah.
I mean, you saw it today. I had one. That's why I was late today. The chair, the toggle switch broke. I mean, you saw that firsthand. And so just we have these things come up that pop up that we gotta manage and mitigate. So,
when you travel, you're on your own for the most part, traveling.
unless I'm going on a date with my wife.
Right. So how do you do that? How do you end up going from here to New York, or from here to, as a quadriplegic? What does that look like? What are the challenges there?
I'll let you answer that. What happened today when I arrived?
I came out to help.
How'd you know that I was here?
You sent me a message.
That's the same thing that happens at the airport.
Okay.
I message in that I'm here, and Delta sends out 2 people to help me. When I land, I don't know who's going to help me, but I will find them.
Yeah.
And I ask. Sometimes I don't have to ask. When I go and get into an Uber, not a regular Uber, Uber X, I'm sizing people up out there that are waiting for an Uber. Or I'm looking for somebody around the baggage claim. Hey, sir, do you have a second? I just need a little bit of help getting in this vehicle. Are you able to help me? Is your back okay? What are you going to say when someone comes up and wheels to you? If you're physically able,
of course.
and you're going to say that to me. And just think about this. And then when I get to the hotel, and sometimes I get at 2 a.m, I've had women at the desk. I never like to have a woman help me ever because I don't want to put them in a bad spot. But I've had women say, whatever you need, I got you covered.
Yeah.
I never want to take advantage of that. I don't like it per se, but sometimes that's my only choice. And I will never have them get me loaded up in a vehicle. But I've had people, and just think, just one trip without any layovers is 26 people helping me out in one day. One. That's from the time I leave my house to the time that I get to the hotel without ordering any food yet. That doesn't count, Uber Eats or DoorDash. That does not count DoorDash. 26 people.
Wow.
Will help me. Getting from baggage claim to all the bags, everything that I do. And I'm just thinking about, who's next. And in 25 years, I've never not had somebody there. Oh, I've been told no, I can't, or been rejected for sure. And I've had problems where I've needed some serious help, and I've been rejected by, and I get that, but I've never died from that. I've had scary moments. I've had moments of weeping and crying and calling and talking to Shondell to get through it, where I've gotten sick and had some embarrassing things happen, for sure. And I've also had some amazing things happen where I was saved by a complete stranger from having an accident. Shondell, I can't believe how this all panned out. It couldn't have been somebody had to have been watching over me. There's no other way. I remember an event in Houston. There's no way that I wasn't watched over in Houston, Texas. Houston Hobby, when just a complete stranger out there guiding traffic helped me into the building and saved me from horrific embarrassment. And none of that ever happened. I missed my flight, but I got to the next engagement, felt clean, great to shower, and felt good, and learned a lesson.
Yeah.
I don't eat 24 hours before I fly. I don't eat. I fast. I just fast, and I get through that. I don't eat 24 hours before that plane takes off. I'm not eating. And if I'm flying day after day, I'll have a small little snack. Peanuts are usually good for me, or some trail mix. Let's get some trail mix. I'm not going to die. I'll be fine. So, and I'm always weighing myself. I don't want to overeat and have my bowels or my stomach too full. So I'm kind of tall and lengthy, but I need to keep about 165, 168, which makes me manageable for you to lift and doesn't, our bodies all have to absorb food, and that food has to exit, as well as drinking. I don't have a problem with cathing. I self-cath. I'm not hooked up to any external devices. I just don't want to have a bowel accident, Trevor. And so when I have one, I document it. What happened? How did it happen? What did I have? What did I have to eat?
Try not to repeat it.
I don't want to repeat it. So it's documented on my phone in a log so that I know. And they're further and further apart. Yeah. So I just have to watch it.
Learning and growing.
And it's discipline.
Yeah, discipline.
And that's taken 25 years to get to where I'm at now. But if I can share that knowledge with somebody else, it doesn't mean it's going to be the same result because their bodies are different than my body. But I have to watch that. If I want to travel alone and not have to have that plane land, and in 25 years, I can tell you that I've never had an accident on a plane.
Wow.
Ever.
That's awesome.
Ever. I haven't had one on a plane. I've had them in hotels. I've gotten sick, but never in the air.
Blessing.
That would be tough. That would be so tough.
So tough.
Very, very tough. Burden, people. just, it's just, I
look at the lives though that are blessed, and they don't even know that I'm going to be out at the airport today, and I don't know that I'm going to run into a Chad Hymas, and I get
now
to
you're
serve.
going to make me start to cry, because you're right. They recognize me, and they got my name all over social media, and they got me on some book for world records. Trevor, that's so backwards. That is so backwards that they, I'm not disappointed. I'm not ungrateful. It's so backwards. Whose name should be in that book? Everybody that's helped me out in my life. And I think God's keeping very good track of that book. Very close track. There have been African American people, Caucasian people, Hispanic people, Muslim, Buddhist, atheist, Christian, you name it. They have helped me. I mean, non-believers, inactive believers, you name it. They have helped me. Young, old alike, people that have taken time out of their day, stayed extra hour, whatever, that have helped me. I guarantee you there's a book that one day I'll meet all those people again, and just thanks for helping me get through life. Thank you for helping me get through the journey that I was on down there. That was hard, but you made it easy. You took that burden off my shoulders. You helped me with my luggage. You showered me. You cleaned me off. You washed me weak because I got sick, and you didn't bat an eye. Thank you for helping me. And those conversations will take place. And there's a book. I believe there's a book.
And I believe there's a book of the people that Chad Hymas blessed. And the opportunities. I think back on your dad's words, Chad, it's not about you. It's about everyone else that can be blessed through you and through the life that you're going to live, and just encouraging that. And I know God, as your father, sees it the same way. Look at the life that you'll live that will allow others to be blessed and to be blessed by you, and to have some service and some opportunity to reach out to one in need.
It's been amazing, Trevor. I'm 52 this month, 52, and we'll celebrate 26 years. So I'm approaching half my life in a chair. And there's a guy I know that's been in a chair for 56 years. He's 80 years old, almost 80 years old. And, I don't like to think, I just got to take it a day at a time.
Yeah.
'Cause I don't like to think, I can feel my body changing. It's body, I need the warmth more, need warm air. I get cold easier. So I just want to, I'm not saying that I want to die per se. I'm not saying that at all. The days are getting harder.
Yeah.
So, and Shondel's asked me to be at home a little bit more and do the masterminds at the ranch. We have so many different mastermind groups now, and the lodge was built for that reason. But when I'm at home more, who's the one person that really, it's Shondel.
Yeah.
And the one person that I don't want to. So in a way, I've kind of, for 25 years, I've run away from that, because when I'm on the road, Shondel's not helping me. Strangers are. I love them, but I'm not in love with them.
Yeah.
Right? That's different to me.
Yeah.
That to me, to Chad Hymas, that's different. When I'm at home, Shondel wants to be the one. And I have pushed her away time and time again. And Shondel's love language is service. And she's come to me and said, you know what? If all I do is go and help other people and do Meals on Wheels, go and serve and do religious work in temples and take our kids to activities, and I don't help my best friend and my husband, what's that saying about my ability to serve if I don't get to serve the one person I want to serve the most? And so there is something powerful about surrendering. Not in a bad way, but saying, you know what, you're right. And surrendering with gratitude. There's something exalting. This is a quote from Jeff Holland. There's something exalting about going through pain, about going through challenges. There's something that's exalting about that. And I know that doesn't sound blissful to our listeners.
Right.
I understand that. But there's something that happens to each one of us. Maybe a part of it is we become more like our Creator.
I think so. I feel like in my life, and I know you feel the same, is the one who is exalted above us all, who's been to the depths and to the heights, our Savior Jesus Christ. That may be some of the only times in life where we become most acquainted with him and what he went through and how he can truly come to our aid. And I think of of our Savior Jesus Christ, the pain, and being left on the cross to feel that loneliness, and then you being left alone. Who can feel that? Who can come to your aid? Who is the only one? And so there's this opportunity, this newness of life, this new opportunity for acquaintance. If Peter in the boat and was fearful, not knowing that was the Savior walking upon the water. Why? Because he'd never experienced him that way before. You had never experienced the Savior the way you have before this. We all have these moments in life where we're sunk into the depths, and who's there? Only him, And so we find him in a new way, a new and exalted way than we had before.
There's this program out there that's called Come Follow Me. And this past week, everybody's on the same kind of agenda. And this past week, there's some passages, and art thou better than he who descended beneath them all, right? Who went through anguish, pain, blood out of every pore, and so what's that saying about the love of him? If we think that we should not go without that, right? And so.
And that passage kind of ends or has in there, know this, my son, that this shall give you experience and be for thy good.
Be for thy good. That's right. That's right. It's DNC 122, 7 and 9. That's right.
And so that can be a hard lesson and a hard road for people to get to, and even for me and you and all of us to know, like, okay, this difficulty that we face, and some much more tragic and difficult than others, much more physical at times, limiting, but in the same breath, if we look at it like your father taught you, so much good will come from the farming that you will do, Chad, in around the world, but right in your own home.
And I think that's a great way to as we bring this to a close or wherever we're at in our podcast, think about this: that the boys are 3-1. They're now 28 and 26. Both are married. I got a granddaughter now from Ace and Lindsay. I mean, Ace and Lindsay gave me now I'm like, the endorphins, I'll do anything for that little granddaughter. I got a granddaughter. Kyler and Kinsey are expecting our first grandson. I know you're not there yet, but you're not too far off.
I'm not.
The kids, you love the kids, but once that grandbaby comes to your house, everybody out. We're watching, we're watching Cinderella. We're watching, we're watching Moana, Zootopia. You guys can go watch whatever you want. It's grandpa and granddaughter time right now. We'll see y'all later. Bye. Yeah. And that's it. There's just something rewarding about that. And I think our Creator loves us the exact same way. I just would embrace us the exact same way. We have 2 other children. We have the boys. We adopted a daughter from Guatemala when she was 3 days old. She's now a sophomore in college. And then we have
got back from a mission. Texas.
From Texas.
Love it.
Good. That's right. Love it. Yeah. And then Caleb's a junior in high school. Beautiful boy from Ethiopia. Dark. You know him a lot. I know
we flew in the helicopter together.
Yep. You and Caleb. And he's such a stud. He is so fun.
Yeah.
Caleb is a great young man who comes to us from a different culture and a different background, never a true knowledge of his mother and father, and we get to be his parents, and it's an honor to be able to learn from him. I won't say teach, because I learn way more from him. The thing about Caleb is he's had some very challenging things happen to him in his country. And then coming here to a foreign land and learning now and being bilingual and trying to fit in when his skin is darker than everybody else's. And surely that's got to be a hard thing. I have no idea what that's like. And he does it well, but yeah, I'm sure that there's those thoughts that go through his mind. He's a beautiful young man, and everybody loves him. What I love about him is that he never leaves me alone or lets me do things by myself when I'm at home. He'll even kick his mom out of the room and say, "Mom, I got this. Mom, I got Dad's shower. I got Dad's shower." And to be honest, Chandel, I didn't want Caleb to help me shower. It's my son. I almost more comfortable with Chandel. I know I don't like either choice, really, but Caleb, at least he'll crack some jokes. I'll take it. I'll take the jokes. He'll make fun of my body, and I'll take that. Chandel doesn't do those jokes, but Caleb will crack some jokes, just kind of make me laugh, and then he'll help me. And then, Dad, I got you covered. All right, Mom, Dad's done, and we're good. I'm cool with it. I'm cool with that. That kid is growing up with a father in a wheelchair, and he has got a servant's heart. And to me, that's better than any church class, because he lives it.
Loves it.
He lives it. better than any young men's activity. Although I'm not against young men's and young women's activity. I'm just saying this kid lives it daily. And I, I'll go home tonight and he'll hang out with me. He'll come to the office, or he'll say, "Dad, you want to go fishing?" "Sure, let's go fishing." And he has my little heater, my hand warmers there, and he baits a hook and puts a pole right there by my wheelchair. And when I got a fish on, he reels it in for me, and I think he kind of mooches it for a little bit. But nonetheless,
I love it.
We got 2 deer tags. All right, Dad, I'll shoot it for you, Dad. I got you covered. Dad. We got 2 elk tags. All right, Dad, I'll get this for you, and then I'll get it. I think he kind of, there's probably some self-incentives there. But
he's a smart kid.
But we're always together. So he's kind of learned how to milk it a little bit and take the benefit of the doubt. But Caleb's incredible. It's unreal. So.
Isn't it amazing to just look and see, like, as you look back on your life, and there's plenty more life to come, like how the blessings came and where they came and who they came through, and how it would have, maybe it wouldn't have, it would have been different had this not occurred. And so I just, Chad, I love your life story. I love the approach. I love the family man that you are, the disciple of Jesus Christ you are. And there's a few more stories that I honestly, I want to get to one more. I know that was kind of a good way to wrap it up. And so if you're listening and you're like, hey, that was episode 1, we're going to move into episode 2 really quick, because there's one story. So I had Chad come out to speak to a large audience of young men who were at the church. It was called Camp Helaman. There was these young men that were preparing to go out on missions, and it was incredible. And I've heard you share the story there. I've heard you share it in another place. It goes back to your dad as well, and a story. Chad was an incredible basketball player, right? You were the captain of the, I can't remember, was it Bingham or?
Don't say that.
Don't say that. I knew if I guessed the wrong one, that was your rival, right?
Yeah, they were our rival.
It was Bonneville,
West Jordan. Yeah, West Jordan. We just struggled. Bingham was so tough. Yeah, so tough. So, yeah.
But do you know the story I want to get to with the gal? Yeah.
The girl, yeah.
I just want to I want to have you share that. There's some there's a really funny hunting story too, right out of the hospital, putting you out in. Yeah, and maybe you don't need to go into that one, but the one with the girl, I want to share. There's a bunch of fathers that listen to this who are teaching their sons. There's a bunch of young men that listen to this. About a bunch of outdoorsmen, young men that are in high school age. They're Beckham's age. They're learning. They're growing. And I when I had you come and speak to the youth, then I wanted to make sure that story was told. I think it's a story that can be told and shared and benefited by anyone, female, male, any generation. But I really want to focus in. If you're a father or if you're a youth and you're trying to teach some lessons, you've already shared us a lot about your father. But share that story and teach us that lesson as well.
This is way before the accident. This is back in the high school days, and we were playing ball, and we were getting ready for the state playoffs, and basketball's kind of our gig. Our family motto is BFFF. I don't know if you knew that. BFFF, basketball, farming, family first. That's our family. Always been our family motto. And I was the captain, a co-captain, and my parents were the booster club parents, and we're preparing to get ready to go play at the University of Utah, 17,000 fans, but we have to win tomorrow night's game at Bingham. And they're just down the street, a few blocks, and we want to make their gym our gym. So the whole student body's going. We're going to pack it in, and it doesn't matter now what court we're on. We're just really, the school's pushing this hard, the prep club and everybody that does that. The night before, light practice, and everybody's coming to my house for some carbs, spaghetti meatballs. It's kind of a tradition. So we all get ready to do that. But before dinner, we're all downstairs in my room. There's 12 of us, I guess, maybe all the varsity players that suit up varsity, and we're downstairs and we're kind of going over our assignments, and maybe just to preface this a little bit, there's a girl in my school. She doesn't have an arm. I don't know much about her. Never did meet her. I never did go up to her and say hello to her. I just don't know the girl. All I know is of her. I've seen her at lunch before. I've seen her with her applesauce on her bib. I know she goes to my school. I know she's special needs. She's handicapped. One arm, one hand. The hand is curled, has a brace on it. I
had this picture of her that's a yearbook photo of her where she is out at a golf course. There's a golf course right across the street from West Jordan High School. It's called Mountain View Golf Course, and there's water at the 8th hole. And in this picture, there's a bunch of white spots on the water. There's the glare off her forehead, so it's a nice day because the birds are out, and she's happy, and she's throwing breadcrumbs out and feeding these white spots or these white geese or snow geese or seagulls. I don't know what they are, but there's this picture of her that's there. So we need to preface the story with that. So
maybe we can put that picture up on this.
We should put that up because that's exactly, you'll see pine trees and you'll see that she's with somebody there, and she's wearing a bib because she drools, she slobbers, and we all knew that. Kind of hard to understand her, but I don't know her. I've never talked to her. Never did go up and say, hey, my name's Chad. Can we sit at your table for lunch? Hey, my name's Chad. Do you want to come shoot some hoops? We don't care if you have one hand. Never did. How about this? Never did do what you and I have been talking about in podcast 1 or episode 1 or episode. We never did do anything intentional with a girl. We didn't go out of our way to serve her, which has been my life story since her. So back to my house. We're downstairs. Mom and Dad are making spaghetti upstairs. We're talking about our assignments so we can win tomorrow night. We know we're going to have a ton of people there. We know we're going to have, the crowds are going to be equal. And I remember this. I had some motivational gospel music on my ghetto blaster playing loud.
Ghetto blaster.
Yeah, you remember that. We had ghetto blasters back then, and the gospel group was AC/DC. I think every church should play AC/DC for their sacrament hymn. That's just thunderstruck. It's a motivating hymn or motivating song, I should say. And I had Thunderstruck playing, and we're talking about the team and our assignments. And I don't know what happened, Trev, but Melanie's name, her name's Melanie, it came up. I mean, it came up in I don't know how. I don't remember how. All I remember is there were some jokes and inappropriate things said about her, and I was the instigator. I'm not proud to say that after all the good we've said on this podcast. I mean, I am not without flaw, and this is one that will stick with me for as long as I live because it's made me better. I was the instigator of a couple of those jokes, and I added to the jokes that were already said, and I laughed with the others that were laughing. And within a couple minutes, the old man, the same old man that would come in my hospital room years down the road, the same old man's knocking on my door. And we turn off the ghetto blaster, and he opens up the door, and he just stands there, and he just says this. He says, spaghetti dinner's ready. I came down to grab you guys, but I've been on the other side of the door for the last little bit. And I've heard everything that you've been saying about this person at your school, this handicapped girl. I want you all to know that I'm incredibly disappointed. But it's not your fault. He said, I'm really hurt and disappointed in the leader of your team, your captain. Now he's talking about me. And then he took it one step further. He said, it's not his fault either. I've coached you guys up all the way up to this game. And every one of you I know, in and out. And I have not done my job as a coach. This is my fault. And I cannot believe that I have led you guys down this path. I better go back upstairs. We'll see you up there for dinner. And it was dead silent. I mean, no music. Nobody said a word. But people grabbed their coats and they left, and nobody had spaghetti dinner. They did not feel comfortable. My dad did not plan on them leaving. That wasn't his intent. But it's kind of hard to stay after you. I mean, my dad didn't swear. There was no swear words, no profanity, no vulgarity. Just a very, very, it hit us to the core. The next day of school, we tried to put that behind us. Nobody said a word about it. We all plan on wearing our jumpsuits for Team Unity. And we got 3,000 kids at West Jordan High School. I'm wearing my jumpsuit. I'm wearing my sweats like everybody else. It's lunch hour. There's 3,000 kids all during one lunch just kind of making noise and doing what we all do. During lunch, we're just chaos and having lunch. And I'm sitting in the corner having lunch with my basketball buddies with the jumpsuits on. A few cheerleaders are there and some football players and just kind of the jocks corner. The basketball it's the club corner, and that's where we're at. And my dad walks into that high school during lunch hour and comes over to her. I didn't know. One of my buddies said, is that your dad? And I'm like kind of crouching down, and he knows where I'm sitting because he's one of the coaches. He knows exactly where we were sitting. He comes over, and I go over to him. Everything all right? And I said, he said, I'm here to visit with a team. And I said, Dad, before you go talk to the team, I'm sorry about what happened last night. I hadn't talked to him since. I got up early. I left early. I have not talked to my dad since last night. I said, I'm sorry about last night. Please don't embarrass me in front of my friends. I promise it will never happen again. That's what I said. He said, son, I appreciate that. I'm not here to talk about you today. He would say the same thing to me in the hospital 7 years later. Not even that. Gosh. Yeah, about 7 years. 7 years. Son, I'm not here to talk about you. There's some people in the waiting room, Wow. I said, oh, yeah, okay. Yeah. He came over there and he said, can you guys show me where the girl is that you were talking about last night? Where's she at? And we kind of begrudgingly pointed to the middle of the cafeteria. Dad, she's got the pink bib on. Looks like there's fry sauce on it, Dad. She's sitting by herself with her teacher aide helping her eat because she only has one hand and it's curled. It doesn't work very good. That's her. He said, I see her. I got her. I see her. He said, I've never seen her before. I don't know her. Why don't you guys follow me? Let's go over and meet her. Now we're a little nervous. I mean, I'm not scared that she's going to hit me or my dad's. I think I'm feeling guilt because of what I said last night. I'm feeling a lot of guilt. We get to her table. My dad taps her shoulder and she starts to, I'll call it a spasm. Like her arm is shaking. A muscle spasm. But she's not nervous. She's letting out this noise of excitement like, this is cool. I got all these people with the same sweats on at my table, and they're here, and the coach is here, and he's saying hello and wants to know my name. And she mumbles out her name, Melanie. My dad's, what's your name? My name's Kelly Hymas. I've heard a lot about you. It's nice to finally meet you. And notice my dad didn't judge her about all the negativity. There's a message right there. We're not allowed to judge based on third-party hearsay. We're not allowed to judge, period. End of story. Whether it's first part, we're just not supposed to judge. I've heard a lot about you, Melanie. It's an honor. I need you to meet the team. They got a big game today. I want you to meet the captain of the team. He's my son. Son, go ahead. And I was scared. Not of her. I think without my dad doing it, I think God did it. I just feel guilty because she's innocent. She's an innocent victim of circumstance. Whatever her circumstance is, we had no right to make fun of her appearance or her body or how she was. And I realized that. But I touched her hand, and it was a little awkward, but the guilt left the second I touched it. She treated me, Trevor, like I was the king of the school and a celebrity, and she wanted to be my friend. And it was like all that guilt went away. I haven't let it go away, but for that moment, it was gone. And all my buddies touched her hand. Hi. I'm sure they were feeling some guilt too, because my dad was right there. I mean, he was right there to see every interaction. And then my dad said, they got a big game today. They haven't beat this team yet. They got to win today in order to move on. They need some luck and need to do something different. You might just be that lucky piece. Can these guys sit down at your table for luck? We had no idea that was going to happen. So my dad had pizza brought in for the school. We're having pizza with her, and lunch was extended. I think the principal was in on this. I think there were some other people. I don't know, but I don't know this day. My dad's not told me. It's not part of the story. It's not important, he says. It's just, it is what it is. And everybody had pizza, and it was about the girl. And roughly, let's say 2,000 to 3,000 kids are in that cafeteria, and it's about Melanie. We go. We do win the game. We don't need to talk about that. Let's back up a little bit. When we were having lunch with her, my dad asked her tell us about yourself, tell the kids about your arm. She said that diabetes took her arm. I remember that. I didn't know that could happen. What's your favorite class in school? She said it was recess. Well, I don't know any high school that has recess, but apparently she gets recess, and she goes over to the golf course and she feeds the seagulls or the white ducks. And that's her teacher aide takes her over there, and she loves it. Oh, and found out that she likes to collect the golf balls that people hit in the water. Then she goes back and she sells them to the same guys that hit them there in the first place. So she's smart. She's an entrepreneur. She's a solopreneur. She's got some she's got some business acumen to her, which I thought was really kind of cool.
That's awesome.
She's raised by her mother, Wendy. That was her best friend, only mom, no dad. And she liked to watch the cheerleaders dance during halftime. Think about that for a second. So I didn't know that, because at half times, where was I at?
Yeah, in the locker room.
So I never knew there was dances going on. I just, it never occurred to me. That's all we found out about her. So we go, we end up winning the game and getting into the University of Utah championship. And all I remember is apparently some people thought it was cool, because when you show up and you play in front of 17,000 people for the state tournament and get into the finals, and ABC shows up with their cameras, NBC, CBS, and Fox. All the major networks are there. It's kind of a big deal in the state of Utah. During halftime, they asked us if we wanted to stay out for a few minutes. They brought out all the cheerleaders, and Melanie was one of them. And the cheerleaders, put her in a skirt, duct taped a pom-pom to her hand, and she just twirled in a circle. And guess who everybody's watching on the Jumbotron? Where's the cameras going? To the girl. And what do you think? What would you be saying to your kids up in the stands? How about if you were watching it on TV from your living room? You're probably saying this. Hey, you guys, get in here. Look at this. Look at the TV. I mean, what are the parents telling their kids in the stands? You guys, look at the girl. Yeah. Look at her. It's not a pity thing. Why can't you guys make your bed or treat your mom with respect? This girl, I'm just saying, look at this. Yeah. This is, the feeling was overwhelming, and the whole entire, it was like a church meeting in a college basketball. It was unreal. And then we all go to halftime, and it was absolutely unreal. Now let's fast forward a couple of years. Let's fast forward about 20 plus years. And this is where it gets kind of cool. I have a senior and a freshman starting varsity together. Okay? My two boys that I've coached up. Yeah. Now I've coached them up, and I got a senior and a freshman starting varsity. And the senior's 18 and the freshman's 15, starting point guard for Coach Fox. It's the best time of my life is watching these kids play. It's so cool. I don't miss a game. I'll fly in, land a helicopter, and go in the gym, watch them play, and then I'll fly out after the game and get on the road again. I mean, that's how my life was when they were in high school. And in my house, I've got a couple of rules. You can date when you're 16 if you're a male. If you're a female, you ain't dating. I mean, that's the rule that I made up.
I should have learned that. Yeah, we should have met sooner than that.
Well, it doesn't work for you in a wheelchair, because the daughter will come and chalk your wheels, and she's going no matter what. So I was just lucky enough to be able to meet the guy and ask him to respect her and get her home safe and sound. But at any rate, I was in Perth, Australia, speaking, and the 18-year-old kid called me up and said, "Dad, I'm going to homecoming." I said, "Buddy, have a blast. I hope you have a great time. You've been going for 3 years. Who's the lucky girl?" He said, "Dad, I'm the lucky one." I said, "Fine. Which girl is it? Krista, Ken, Jen? Who is it?" He said, "This is a new girl." I said, "Well, that's cool. You want to tell me about her?" He said, "I'll text you." This is the texting age now. Yeah. So he sends me a text with no verbiage, just a picture. And it's a girl that's half his height when she's standing. My kid's 6'5". Ace is 6'5", 220, plays the 4, tough player, fun to watch play. Great. I might be a little biased, but other coaches say just a great young man. And I'm watching this kid play. And this girl is special needs, and she doesn't talk. And Ace tells me, "Dad, I go and I spend an hour with her every day, and she likes it when I read Dr. Seuss to her. She shows emotion, she talks, and we watch Jim Carrey Dr. Seuss too, Dad. Even though it's not Christmas time, we watch it." I said, "When do you have an hour to spend with her?" You have basketball, weights in the morning. You have your private coach that's coaching you with basketball, so you can play at the next level if you want. You have school, and then you have basketball practice after, and then you have ranch work, and they have homework. When do you have an hour to spend with this girl? He said, "Dad, I go during seminary." Now, for those of you that don't know what seminary is, that are listening, in Utah, you can take a religious class. It's not required. You can choose to take that as an alternative. And they have it at every high school in the state of Utah. I said, "So you're going to fail seminary because you're spending time with this girl? You're going to fail your religious class?" He said, "No, Dad, I just thought I would go and do what they teach in the class. My seminary teacher is cool with it."
Wow.
I said, I wish I would have had that kind of vision in high school. I didn't. I'm looking at this picture, son, and I'm seeing there's a poster board here, and you got some pom-poms that you're giving to her in this picture. I said, what's with those pom-poms? He said, Dad, I was reading your book, chapter 7. Is it true what Grandpa did 20 years ago in your high school with that Melanie girl? I said, I can't speak to that. I'm not worthy of it. But you can call Grandpa up and talk to him. I better go. Bye. And that was it. And I just started crying.
Yeah.
2 o'clock in the morning in my hotel room. 5 o'clock in Utah time. I mean, he has no sense of time, and he just ruined my night. I mean, made my night, but ruined my night. And I'm just all balled up.
Yeah.
5 minutes later, the 15-year-old kid, freshman, calls me, who starts varsity. So he's got a little bit of, I won't say, it's not arrogance. It's
Confidence.
Confidence. And he's very confident. And he needs to be. Otherwise, he can't play at that level. So
Yeah,
he's
course.
confident, very, very confident. Dad, I'm going to homecoming. What's the answer to that?
He's not 16.
Buddy, you haven't hit puberty yet. You don't have any hair on your, there's no hair on your arms. There's no hair on your legs. You're not 16. You're not going. Dad, I've already asked a girl out. Now I'm lit. And I'm in Perth. He's in Utah. And I just start using language like, hey, buddy, you can't disobey the rules. You can't go to homecoming. You're not going. The kid hangs up on me. That's how confident. He hangs up on his old man. Hangs up on me. Sends me a text with no text. And it's a picture with him and a girl. Calls me back. Dad, are you still there? And I just said, kind of with a mean tone, yeah, I'm here. I'm here. Dad, are you going to talk to me? Just going to be quiet? Are you going to get mad at me still? You going to listen? I said, buddy, listen. I'm not happy about this because you should have asked me first. You're 15 years old. You're not allowed to date. You can't do this. Dad, this is Lisa's best friend, the girl that Ace asked out. They both go to the same special ed class together. Ace introduced me to her. We thought they'd be more comfortable going together than apart, and we thought you'd be proud, not mad. By the way, Dad, isn't this what you teach your audiences across the world? I said, don't use my crap on me, boy. Just because I teach it doesn't mean I live it. Don't use my stuff on me. Don't use my books on me. Dad, did I do the right thing? I said, the answer is yes. You need to call your grandpa as well. I better go. Bye. I went home from Australia, and I want you to know, Trevor, that 8 of their basketball buddies thought it was cool. Not the whole team, but 8 of them did. 16 of their football buddies did, and every single cheerleader. I have a bus that I use to travel around in that has a wheelchair lift in it. They use the wheelchair bus. There was not one special ed student left behind, and the bus is still used for that now, and my boys have been out of high school now for 10 years.
Wow.
And that story exists because of how many people?
One.
Who was it? You're right, one person. It was my dad.
Yeah.
And my dad had no business walking into that high school. He's not a teacher. He's not the principal. Doesn't have a badge to get in the door. My dad is somebody that is living with intention. And if I can be half the man that he is when he's here and when he's gone, when he leaves this life, I'm going to be okay.
Wow.
I just want to know if our listeners have the same ability as my father. And the answer is yes. Are they going to leave here and do it and do something with their kids today, or their grandkids, or their nieces, or their nephews, or are they just going to listen to this podcast and think it was inspiring and do absolutely nothing? What a lack of conquering. Find a way to conquer more by finding somewhere to give.
Oh, I love it, Chad. Thank you for taking some time to share that story. Yeah, your father's incredible. You're incredible. You said earlier, and we'll just wrap with this. Is that okay if we wrap up now? I think that was a story to end on.
Fair enough.
You talked about your dad's calls and him checking in on your farming and letting you know how proud he is of you. And I miss those calls from my father. It's okay. Like I still feel that feeling from him. We were in a temple marriage over the weekend, and for my brother's daughter, and the officiator said, I need you to know how much God is proud of you, but not just proud, he is pleased. And I just, that really impacted me, because I've always heard those words from my father, and I'm so proud of you, Trev, you know, the things you're doing, this or that. I just want you to know. And sometimes it was just a call to say, hey, I'm just calling to let you know how proud I am. As I think of your father and how proud he is of you, and then I think of a heavenly father and the life that he's given you, the way that you've lived that life. He knows the difficulties that this type of life has caused in your life, but he's seen how you've taken it and how you've approached it, and how you've leaned on his son and the strength there. I would just echo the words I heard over the weekend from knowing that a heavenly father is proud of you and is very pleased with the farming you're doing with his children, the impact you're having with his children, the lives that are inspired, the people that are listening now that are inspired by this to action. It's your drive for me, and watching you and seeing you. It's not, you have beautiful words that you share, but it's a life of action, and it's that's what inspires in me, is to get out and do, you know, to be something more. I can't wait to talk to my wife today. You know, every interaction with you leaves me feeling like when I go home, this is the husband I'm going to be.
Grab some flowers on the way, or
grab
some dinner.
Maybe, can you offer a challenge to our listeners right now, and we'll wrap with that?
I would, in the very, very least, without having to spend any money, send a text message off that's unexpected to somebody in your family, a spouse, a kid. Says something like this: hey, Dad here, gorgeous day outside. Check out this photo. Thinking of you now. Thank you for all you've done for me in my life. Hope you have a great afternoon. And if you want to do something extra, I don't know, maybe you grab some ice cream, unexpected, and have ice cream before dinner, a banana split before dinner, because that never happens. And when they ask why, just said, well, I don't know. I just wanted to do something different. And I hope you guys don't forget this day. I was thinking about you today, and I probably don't do this enough. And I don't let you know. It's not the ice cream. I need you to remember this day, because today I realize how much you kids mean to me. And so we're having ice cream before dinner and after. That's fine. And if mom gets mad, I'll deal with mom later on. But we're going all out on banana splits before dinner, because it never happens. We never do banana splits before dinner. And let them make those banana splits. Yeah. I'm just throwing a couple ideas out there.
I love it. I mean, you did that for our team at one event, and we had people that left your ranch.
We did.
And they picked up ice cream.
They sent me pictures. I remember that.
Yeah.
I got photographs. Yeah.
Yeah.
And so the wives are even involved. They like bought in like one time. That's cool.
So listen. Don't just. There's a word that's hearken. It means to listen and obey, not to hear and delay. So I'd say everything you've heard from Chad today, hearken. Listen and obey. Not that Chad's commanding you to, but I know that you felt something inside, and a nudge and a feeling and a prompting to go and do. And so don't let that go. And, thinking back, life can change in an instant. It can be one way one day. Your son could be taking his first steps that day, and you're taking your last. And we just never know, right?
It's true.
And what we do know is that there is strength out there. There's power. There's healing, and the healing comes in many different ways. And it will be whole at some point, in the future, for all of us that need healing, and we all do in certain ways. And that'll be an amazing day. But Chad, I'm grateful for your faith. I'm grateful for your faith in Jesus Christ and in your Heavenly Father and His plan. I'm grateful for the relationship you have with your own Father and how motivating He is in our lives. You tell His story, and His life is impacting so many. His life has impacted. You speak of the 24 million people that have heard you speak or whatnot. They've heard your Father through you. It's pretty incredible, and so I know He's proud and pleased with the life you live. And I just want to share a special thanks to your wife as well as we wrap this up, and your kids. But your wife, who is a servant leader and who is doing so much in your life and the lives of others, so that you can go out and do what you've done. It's a ripple effect of the love and the life and the light that they share, that you're able to go out and share from them.
Yeah, she does allow me. You're right. She's a gift, Trevor. She's a gift. 30 years, and I've been in a chair for 25 of them. I mean, I can't fathom that. I can't fathom that. I'll end my comment with this. I asked her what got us to 30 years. I asked her, what's gotten us to 30 years, knowing each other for 32 years.
or 33 years because we dated, and then I went on a mission. And she said, I did not marry you for your body. That's not a compliment, brother. I didn't like that. And then she asked me if I married her for hers, and I couldn't give her an honest answer. So I was a 21-year-old kid back then. I mean, my mind wasn't in the same place. So anyway, we can end on a good laughing note there. But she said she did not marry me for my body, and I didn't know how to take that. Because we take pride in our bodies at Mountain Ops. Right? We try and stay in good physical health. So anyway,
well.
I don't know. Probably shouldn't end on that. But,
I think it's great. The depth of love is more. It's it's not surface level, and be that for someone.
There you go. You can take that however you want.
I love it. Thank you all for giving us some of your time and attention today. Please like and subscribe and share this. Send Chad a message expressing your appreciation for the life and the message that he has shared with us today and helping us all conquer more.
Thanks, Trev.